tariff the internet next.
Oh, no doubt.
After the foreign films. It's the intro music. It means the Tower Show is starting. Dublin and Devlin are ready to go. Yeah, 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 yeah. Hey, here we are. It is Tuesday, May the 6th. Oy veyishmir. I said that. I'm feeling extra Jewish this week because Judaism is always apparently a threat to MAGA. Hey, Devlin, what's up? How's it going?
It's going all right. I mean,
Yeah.
legally and peacefully, fair to partly cloudy here in New York. But also, every
yeah.
day it's very stressful in general. Yeah.
That's why we're here.
Exactly.
To absorb your stress and kind of make it smaller. Kind of absorb it, make it smaller, make it more palatable, get you back out there to resume living. I don't know. We're trying. We're trying. Despite this administration doing everything it can to actively kill us. Hey, kitty. Hi, kitty. All the cats.
It's
are
my
all the
Tara
cats gonna make a
Jr.
cameo too?
Yes. Well, he's my
Aw.
emotional support cat and the producer of the Tara Buster. He comes in,
All right,
steps
well,
on the buttons now and then, so I'll try to keep him away.
Oh, where would we be without our fur babies? Let's never find out. Hey, so as usual, there are 400 different thousand things going on at the same time, and that's the way Trump likes it. It's all about the chaos so that you can't focus on one thing.
Right.
There's so many things, and it's when we always talk before the show starts to see what we're going to talk about and the things that are weighing on us the most heavily at the moment. And so, what for you? Like, if someone said you can only talk about one issue, what would it be right now?
Well, I mean, the whole everything that's going on, like you're saying, this Project 2025 blitzkrieg of assaults on our society, really, on the constitutionally limited democratic republic the founders fought a revolution to create and entrust to us. That's what's going on. And this was all laid out in that blueprint. So what really is on my mind is what I wrote about on the Substack, my last post, which was kind of epic because well, it's very long, let's put it that way. And but it's because I believe that's the problem that we're up against. The fact that the Democrats have such a low approval rating, while the Republicans, I know that Trump also has a low approval rating, but the Democrats should not be at this historic low in their approvals or the way the public perceives them. And that is because of propaganda. And I break it down in the Substack article, and this goes back to GOP TV. It goes back to Roger Ailes and the Nixon White House proposing GOP TV because we were living in a time called the Great Prosperity. FDR's New Deal created the middle class, and the Republicans saw themselves in the wilderness for as far as they could imagine. And but they needed to own the conversation, and this is what they do. They don't. And they count on this too, because when you don't have policy on your side, they have nothing to boast about. What are they going to boast about in reality? I mean, they hate trans people. That's about it, right? They target minority groups. That's it. But in reality, they just change the subject to something else. They distract. And if we know, look at every Republican state. How can Mitch McConnell retire and go home and face his constituents after he's done absolutely nothing for them for the past 50 years, right? As they sink lower and lower on the ladder of all positive measures. So this is a direct result of propaganda, and there are ways to get the message back. And I mean, we're doing it here, and I really believe
we
that.
are.
Mm-hmm. And
Yes.
but things that you say about the Democratic press secretary, and we have to own the conversation, take it back.
Exactly, and when I was on Hal's show yesterday, we spent a significant amount of time on this particular topic, not agreeing about everything, which is one of the reasons why I love going on Hal's show, because you can come on there with one perspective and he's like, well, but what about this reason? And then you're like, oh, well, yes, because he's brilliant and he knows so much. We talked about the difficulty in Democrats having the ability to create a unifying message, which is weird because MAGA's message is, oh, Trump. And so
That's it.
Ours should be obstruct Trump. It's a very simple two-word message, obstruct Trump at every turn. And I said they should never confirm any of his appointees for any reason, because that's what Mitch McConnell did to Obama. Their unifying message at that time was obstruct everything coming from the White House. That should be our unifying message. Now, Hal's take was that Democrats are going to continue to be forced to pick and choose which hill they're going to die on. And which ones are okay to let go and which ones you dig in. So when you have somebody like David Perdue nominated to be the ambassador to China, David Perdue guilty of inside trading, just not who you want. Hal's take was it's better to have David Perdue acting as the ambassador to China than not having anybody as the ambassador to China, especially now with all of the tariffs mishigas. And I'm thinking, but he's an inside trader who doesn't understand math. And why? No, but. And so there's this disconnect of what we expect from Democratic leadership, what they're capable of accomplishing when we're in the minority, and when we see the likes of Chuck Schumer just sending strongly worded letters. What are we supposed to parse from that? And then now there was a quick thing that I saw earlier in that there's going to be a Democratic retreat coming up, and they're bringing in like Ezra Klein to talk to them. Ezra Klein, who was push out Biden, get rid of Biden. No, that's not who should be talking to the Democrats. It should be people like us, people like Hal, people like John Fugelsang, anybody from real independent media should be talking to the Democrats, because they're famished right now, as you might say in Yiddish, and that's not a unifying message. So that. And we still have these moments. And you and I talked about this just before we came on the air today. Here's why we need leadership in the Senate like we're starting to see in the House, and that leadership is coming from Black women. Not a shock. If you want to pull up today, Lauren Underwood, bless Lauren Underwood to the heavens, shut down Kristi Noem beautifully. So you'll recall Donald Trump was on Meet the Press the other day, and Kristen Welker asked if he's supposed to uphold the Constitution. He was like, I don't know. Yeah, you are.
Yeah, I don't have that clip, the Underwood clip, do I? Oh, yeah, here it is. I know we went through it, but we
went through this.
So, okay, Art Candy. Okay, here we go.
Oh, if you're not following Art Candy either on Blue Sky or Twitter, rectify, because she's all over it. So what happened is basically Lauren Underwood is like, Donald Trump doesn't think he has to follow the Constitution, or he doesn't know. What do you say? And she's like, well, basically, yes. And then Lauren Underwood starts reading the Constitution to her. We wanted to just show just like a little bit of this, because it's, first of all, she's there with her frozen Alina Habba Ivanka face that she's stuck with forever. And she's just like, I can't move my face to what? Just give us, just like, even push it forward a little bit, because he's asking. She reads the Constitution. He's like, do you agree with that? And she's like, because she doesn't want to say anything in defiance of Trump, but she's also under oath, and she's talking about the U.S. Constitution. So what do you think, Frozen Kristi?
I just, whenever I see Kristi Noem, I think how much she must hate her face, what she does to it all the time. But anyway, here, let's listen in here.
Requirements, but also to make sure that they were being spent appropriately.
So, of course, the president is within his authorities.
Make sure
Ma'am, this is my time. Thank you so much. Of course, the president's within his authorities to drive policy decisions within the bounds of federal law and the Constitution. But that's not what you've been doing. What I'm asking is whether you believe you have the authority to ignore appropriations law. Do you believe that the Constitution gives the executive branch unilateral authority to withhold funds appropriated by the legislative branch?
We have evaluated grants to make sure if they're being spent appropriately, and work that is underway and was authorized has continued. Other
Is that the
grants that have
question?
not been started and have not been authorized or obligated, we have reevaluated.
Wow.
And I think you're talking specifically about grants potentially within FEMA that were non-disaster related
What
grants.
is she
I'm
talking
broadly,
about?
ma'am,
Are
and
being-
Article 2 does not
Not
give
answering the
the executive
question.
the authority
Exactly.
to withhold funds, period. And multiple courts have weighed in to agree. Multiple courts have ruled.
Look at her dead
in agreement.
eyes.
Congress controls the power of the purse.
We are
That
not-
is a fact. That's not a question. That is a fact. And so if the president disagrees with certain spending, Congress passed the Impoundment Act to create a legal process to seek rescissions, and we expect him to follow the law. This administration is not just ignoring the constitutional power of the people's elected representatives. It is also violating the fundamental right of individuals. Do you believe that the Constitution grants everyone in our country the right to due process, including non-citizens?
The administration has the authority to.
Ma'am,
look
I'm
at
looking for a
when
yes or
grants are
no
spent
question.
to
Yes or no. Do you believe the
appropriate them as
Yes,
appropriate.
ma'am. Do you,
We have
ma'am?
not conducted an.
Reclaiming
Oh
my
my
time,
God.
Mr. Chairman. Okay.
I mean, you can
Secretary
stop it
Noem,
right there.
I'm just looking for a yes or no here. Do
It's
you
incredible.
believe
They
the
can't. They
Constitution
can't ever. They can't ever just give a yes or no answer, which is all Democrats ever want.
Right.
Yes or no? Do you follow the Constitution or do you follow Trump? Are you loyal to
Right.
your country or are you loyal to Trump? Because it cannot be both.
Mm-hmm.
It can't. And that is, you want a unifying message, Democratic Party? There it is. America or Trump. Because you cannot be loyal to both at the same time.
That's true.
It is a choice.
Right.
It is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
You have
And-
chosen loyalty to him.
Right. Right.
Why?
And, I don't
And then
know.
what should be the consequences for that?
Well, I just think
Mr.
that.
and Mrs. Rosenberg, would you like to answer that question?
Well, I just think that the Democrats need to remind the American people that we don't pick and choose who gets due process in this country. And that's part of what keeps us free. That even the worst of the worst, even the MS, whatever the hell number we're up to now, they get due process too. And that's the way it was designed. You know, I mean, I think that, and this goes back to the Bush administration too. I mean, they've been whittling away at democracy forever, these Republicans. And and I'm sure you remember after 9/11, they, with the Patriot Act, they on their propaganda channels kept talking about how weak it was for us to read terrorists their Miranda rights, that they didn't fall under the Constitution or whatever. But it's not about them. It's not about who they are. It's about who we are. And this is what Republicans seem to, not understand, that the Constitution is not negotiable. And that's why when Trump is
Correct.
like, he doesn't know, he's got to go to the Supreme Court to ask if he can follow the Constitution. I don't understand how these people think that the Constitution is something that is up for debate now. I mean, if it is, take it through the process, right? But they don't. They just defile it and violate it and break the laws. And I just don't think that, the Republicans, it just proves everything that I say, that they really don't like this country. They don't like democracy. They don't like freedom. And we're watching it right in front of our eyes, and it's kind of frightening, really. And that's why we have to stand up. Anyway, go ahead.
I mean, it's terrifying. And then the other issue is that when we do stand up, they don't like it.
Yes.
And then they have us forcibly removed from the room, as happened to American citizen, social worker, and Jewish woman, Emily Feiner, in Representative Mike Lawler's district in New York.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully you're following that story as well. So what happened was Mike Lawler, a Republican, actually showed up to his own town hall, already miraculous,
Interesting.
and then took questions from his own constituents, which also happens at town halls. And this fine lady, Emily Feiner, it's built into her name, stood up and asked the question, will you uphold the Constitution? Where is your red line with this administration? Will you hold them accountable? I'm paraphrasing. And he didn't like that. And then she sat back down, and then he sent people to remove her. He sent New York State troopers
Incredible.
to physically remove her. So if you want to play this, just she's very calm. She's amazing.
see.
I mean, you know me. I'd be like,
Yeah.
but go ahead and
We
let's
should- they
watch
should all-
her,
I
and then
mean-
we'll.
They should have all
watch-
went limp and,
I mean,
blocked
she's like,
this.
I'm not leaving. And then and then she's very calm, and everyone around her is like, leave her alone, let her stay, let her be, let it, leave her alone. And then there's an agitator MAGA dude who's like, lock her up, deport
Lock
her,
her
and nothing
up.
happens to
Wow,
that guy.
wow.
Nothing happens to the guy who's like trying to threaten her livelihood.
Right.
No, the Jewish social worker woman who asked
Yeah.
a basic question of, she basically said, are you going to do the job we elected you to do? And instead of answering her, this happened. So if you haven't seen it's something to behold.
It will force. So, for instance, I'll give you a case in point.
Are you serious?
Incredible.
Stop recording.
Do you want China to continue to be?
I'm not recording that. I'm recording this.
They're telling her to stop recording the bystander?
Yeah, the woman who's recording. Yep. You think in a room full of people, they're not going to record this?
Right.
Listen to the crowd.
Look at all those men around her. For what? Asking
Brown
a question.
Look at them. Look at them putting her hand. From that moment, they're violating
That's
her
what
civic,
her
civil rights. They're violating her First Amendment rights. I mean,
There you go, lady. She's a hero.
the fucking Shiro is what she is. She's so amazing. Listen to that. Okay, so
Return to your seats. It reminds me of
Okay.
watching the Nazi footage. I love history, but one of I wouldn't say my favorite times in history, but the rise and fall of the Third Reich. There's so many correlations going on. How the brown shirts. I mean, they didn't claim power overnight. This went on for years. They tried the coup, and then that didn't work, and they decided to go through the legal process and play the game of government. But they had their brown shirts dispersed into meetings and whatnot that would, do things like this, that would silence any opposition. And that's what we're witnessing.
So, and in this post, they say people should lock arms and not let her be carried out. That's what I would have done if I was in that room. I would have blocked the exits with other people, because you do not, and it's like basically ironic, because she asked him a question about the Constitution, and he turns around and violates her First Amendment and civil rights.
Right.
So
Well, these are the people that are the free speech absolutists, only when they're misgendering somebody on Twitter or,
Correct.
wanting to say the N word without anyone having a
or
reaction.
the C word or the
Yeah.
R word. I got
Right.
called the C word all weekend on Twitter. All weekend. And this goes back to the dumbest distraction. Like, we all know how much MAGA loves a distraction from everything that Trump is actually doing for real. Right? And it's the ignore what they say, watch what they do, which is
Right.
why there's the distraction with the Panama Canal and the Gulf of America and renaming Greenland, and now this Alcatraz bullshit because the
God.
guy watched a movie. It was just fuck you. Just no.
Right. Yes.
They want us mired in stupidity and distracted by stupidity and dumb things so that they can do worse things and keep carrying out the Project 2025. And we saw this over the last few days when the official White House account, which I think is now run by tweens doing poppers.
Oh no.
They're I mean, it's so embarrassing to watch the decline of just what
Right.
they're doing.
Of
what they're doing.
everything.
They're turning the White House into the cryptocurrency frat house. But they tweeted an image of Trump as the Pope, right?
Yes.
And everyone's like, yes, he should be the Pope. And Trump's like, yes, I should be the Pope, even though I'm a disgusting bucket of shit that fell asleep at his funeral with my fucking mouth open. Okay, that.
Ugh.
From the official White House account.
Right.
I don't know why the finger. Maybe it's
Well, that's what
because,
there's a picture of John Paul
of
II
the Pope, right,
with his
doing that.
finger. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Right. So, okay, so they did that. And with the intention to, quote, trigger us.
Trigger who?
Now-
How many Catholics on earth?
I don't fucking know. Who cares? The point is to be dipshits and make us mad. right?
Right.
That's what they're trying to do, and they think that we're upset about it. I mean, I don't care about the blasphemy because I'm not religious. I'm an
Yeah.
atheist. It's not about the blasphemy. It's about the
Right.
hypocrisy,
Right.
because of who the Pope is supposed to be, what the Pope represents on paper. Instead of, I'm distracting you from the evils of the Catholic Church and all of the raping of altar boys and other people, and the stealing of the money and the fleecing of the poor. I'm distracting you from that by wearing these beautiful robes. Anyway, but Pope Francis, for all intents and purposes, was a cool
was
pope
better.
in that he was a little bit more liberal and loving and more,
Right.
but still the Pope and still,
Yeah.
the Catholic Church. And Donald Trump is the antithesis of anything good and right in the world, aside from being an adjudicated rapist, convicted felon, pedophile, Epstein bestie, also
Yeah.
thrice married. Thrice married.
He
Which
cheated on all his
automatically
wives.
can't-
Yep.
Right, right? And the Pope has to be chaste, so that automatically cancels out that perv. And
Well,
it's just the Pope
yeah,
represents goodness, and that's not who Trump is. Basically, right?
And
so
the Pope is infallible too. That's the other thing, that he wants that infallibility. He wants people
he wants
to
to
just
be universally beloved, and that's not going to happen. So, you know me, and I like to maybe stir a little shit sometimes. And I don't do it to start shit like Taylor Swift. I don't start
Yeah.
shit, but I can tell you how it ends. And it's one of the I'm more of a reactive person. I don't wake up every day going, "Ooh, who can I fuck
Right.
this day?" I'm more like, "Oh God, okay, oh Jesus, all right, fine, I have a react." So I'm reactive, and so what I did, if you want to pull up my Twitter account,
yes.
my pinned tweet right now.
I love it. I just burst out laughing when I saw it.
I believe AI is the devil, and I'm not a fan. As a writer, as a creative, I think I don't need AI to help me do anything. I can write all by myself. Thank you. But if you go, I think it's in my pinned tweet.
I gotta.
It should be my pinned-
wait,
my
I
pin-
have to
my
call
pinned-
it up. Yeah.
I played with the Grok for the first time, or one of the first times, and I created an image of the Pope.
Is that it?
using-
Oh, wait. I was talking about.
Oh, there it is.
I just was talking
There it
about your
is.
banner. Your banner.
That's my banner, but there. Okay. So I made that. I did that. That's my AI. I will take credit for that.
That's great.
I made that.
You did
It's
good.
beautiful, right?
You done did
It's a
good,
great-
kid.
Right? It's the smoking hottest Pope ever. Anyway, so I mean, if you're fine with a fake image of
Right.
Trump as the Pope, this shouldn't bother you. This is my most engagement ever on
Wow.
Twitter ever since 2009.
Look at all that.
The amount of
millions.
look at the
Holy
views.
moly,
Look at the-
5.6
look
million
at-
views.
If I was still paying for Twitter, I might have made about $20 on that. So, but look at the engagement on it.
Right.
How many people have bookmarked it? How many people have commented on it? Like that ratio is, I think, a perfect ratio when it comes to engagement because there are more likes than
Oh my god.
comments.
Wow,
How
wow.
many times it's been shared? But the MAGA triggering
Yes.
is really what it was about.
Just
so,
looking
like
at
that top
the
one.
excuses. Yeah. Dude, it's a
Right.
it's a
me,
meme, not a
Baker.
coronation. Ugh. Ugh.
Get help, and all of the responses are similar, right? Get help for your TDS, you're triggered, and even I
Triggered.
said it's the hypocrisy, not the blasphemy, because like that's and like people are like he was praying. Fuck you, he was.
No, he
asleep.
wasn't. He's drooling.
He was
He's
asleep and
it's a
catching
disgrace.
flies.
ugh.
I was so entertained by the
Right.
triggered responses, and I'm just like, and I gave it back as good as I got it
Good.
for a while. You can't keep up. I mean,
Right.
there's like 9,000 responses. I'm not going to sit there for hours, but that guy's a
Oh my
special one.
God. This
I
guy
got
here?
called this. There's that guy. There was one guy who only responded with really bad memes that constantly called me the C word. That's in and that's why I made my header on
Yes.
the Janie Godley photo,
That was
because
good.
if you're gonna use that word, I'm gonna use it too. And it just but it's funny to me, and this is and I talked about it a little bit with Hal yesterday, and he made the point which is
Oh my
the
God.
whole. It's the anger. Look at that. Look how fucking.
Look
triggered
at him.
that-
Look
that-
at him. Look at this.
at that word
Doge.
salad.
Enforcing Doge. Taking back
Look,
the Panama Canal. All these great
You are
important
paid-
issues. You are
You are
paid.
paid and controlled
Oh,
opposition.
I wish. Are we paid
Nobody
and
fucking
controlled?
control. Look at the shirt I'm wearing. Women don't know you shit. Nobody controls me. Nobody. I am not in a cult. I am capable
Wow.
of holding our
Paid and
leadership
controlled.
accountable. I am capable of thinking and speaking for myself. All of that. I haven't
Look
even
at all
responded to
this.
that.
Look at the delusion,
look at it.
though. Oh my God. I'd like to fact check all of this. I will. I'm going to run it through.
I mean, that's a whole lot of MAGA words.
yeah,
So
no,
you
it's
wanna
just
do-
all
I mean,
bullshit. Mm-hmm.
So who is controlled?
Right. It's
Who is
all
paid?
right from Fox News. All the
Who is
bullshit.
controlled?
Yeah.
Who is
Executive orders with national emergencies, cleaning up the messes, cleaning up the
What national
exposing
emergencies?
exposing stock and trader fraud. I want to bang my. Where's my hammer? I need to bang myself in the head. This is unbelievable.
Right? Every
But it-
accusation is
yeah.
a confession.
But it goes to what I wrote in the Substack piece. How
I mean,
it
it's
is propaganda. That's
delusional.
yeah, right. They're not
Delusional.
getting they're
And
not coming
go
up
ahead
with
and
this.
click on-
Mm-hmm.
right. So go ahead and click on his profile. Go to the right and click on his profile. This
This
Derek
guy?
Johnson guy.
Oh God.
Look how many followers he has. Look at him.
Mm.
Fact check this. Okay.
If he has
well, you're
it,
wrong.
yeah, I will fact check it actually.
And you're wrong.
Let's ask.
You almost don't. But see, he is indicative of the kind
Take
of
this
behavior.
out.
We've talked about the MAGA behavior on this show many, many times, which is the way they try to manipulate language and turn things into a semantics argument and attack the messenger instead of addressing the issue.
Right.
And it's the constant moving of the goalposts. And it's never, ever, ever taking accountability. Now, over the weekend, I got a guy, different guy, who was on my job big time. And it was one of those where it was like he would try to compliment me, but then he would say something terrible in the same tweet. And his point was that I couldn't understand the difference between the felonies he committed, his felony fraud trial, and the E. Jean Carroll trial, and that I
What?
kept mixing them up.
Really?
And
I
I'm
don't
like,
think so.
No, because he was arrested 4 times. That's 4 separate things you can keep track of. And he had more than one trial in the E. Jean Carroll case because he kept going back and appealing and defaming her more and paying her more. And he was like, no, he didn't. And I'm like, yeah, he did. Aren't you the do your own research cult?
Right.
And then, what happens with these idiots is I just forget about them because I don't care, right? They don't land, they don't stay
Right.
in my brain. I might, and see, I trigger them and they'll remember me forever. I forget about them as soon as I'm done. So I forgot about this guy, and then later in the day, I tweeted my screenshot of my Trump block, which I've had since August 2015. And there are times when I tweet the block and
Congratulations.
people are like, thank you. It was earned. But I got it in August 2015, and he has never unblocked me. And there are people to this day who believe it's fake. That I faked it. I somehow created it. First of all, I have no Photoshop skills whatsoever. Also, I mean, if you look at it, it's from when he was campaigning in 2015. That was his header then, and whatever. If you look, and I've repeatedly shared it over the almost 10 years since I got it. So the same guy came back and was like, "There is no way he blocked you." Because you're an idiot, and you only found out today that he committed felonies. And I
Oh
was
my
like,
God.
no, I found out the same time everybody else found out, you fucking moron. So I was like, okay, Tiny, here's here's my tweet saying he blocked me from 2015. What do you say now? And then he writes back, I'm impressed.
Oh, well, okay.
I'm proud of you. Doesn't say he was wrong. So you want to play semantics with me? I'll play semantics with you. So I come back and I go, but okay, so now you can admit in front of all of everybody that you lost to a girl and you were wrong. MAGA hates that.
Can they
hate
admit?
that. They hate
No.
Nope.
No.
Okay. No, not normally. So he was like, dude, Keeps calling me dude. Keeps calling me
Oh
bro.
my God.
Bro, dude,
What a
bro.
boring bastard he is.
I totally. He was like, bro, I already
Bro.
did. I'm like, no, you didn't. I was like, no, you didn't. You said you were proud of me, which is condescending.
Say,
You said you were impressed, but you didn't say you were wrong. And he's like, how many times? Look at that. A homosexual Muslim.
yeah, well, this is what I'm talking
is
about.
what Trump is,
where are
right?
they getting?
That's where they go.
Right. What that's supposed to be Obama. You know, he's gay. Michelle Obama is trans. You know, like that's their QAnon, you know, cult. And where are they getting it from? They're getting it from Kremlin-funded influencers. That you know,
cool.
yeah, the people
Kitty
that
litter, kitty
hate
litter.
this country. You know,
Yeah.
Russian-funded, authoritarian dictator-funded psyops, basically, and they fall for it every time. They should be ashamed.
And it's all rooted in jealousy because there's no such thing as a sexy Republican.
No.
So
oh my God. No.
I did get that guy to admit he was wrong though, and I screenshot it
Okay,
and
good for
I
him.
I tweeted it, and then he was like, well, then his response to that was, you know, you should follow me.
Oh.
You should follow me because he was
I think he
following
wants
me.
you.
He's like, you should follow. Yeah. Oh my God. He goes, you should follow me back, and then right underneath that he goes, you're kind of a bitch. You know that, right?
Oh, fuck you.
I was just like-
Wow.
So-
oh, he's
so
a...
my
oh
final-
my God.
My final dispatching of that one was quote tweeting and go, this is some real Andrew Tate shit right here. That is absolutely the whole incel
Yes.
mindset and like remember in like the early 2000s, the pickup artist and
Mm-hmm.
how it was like if you continue to insult
Yes,
women,
that's
it's
it.
gonna make them want you even more.
That's what he's doing.
That.
Yep.
100%, and that, fellas, not the way. That is not the way to get the ladies.
Just
If
goes to
if
show
you're
you.
a fella,
Yeah.
if you're a fella and you want to impress a lady, it's about complimenting and then complimenting.
Oh, look, your mother was cropped
Compliment.
out at the bottom of this picture.
No, I think you were. I think you were, buddy.
right. I
You were.
mean,
You're
are
the
you?
one-
It's
Oh,
so
go to their
childish.
profile. Just go to their
It's just
profile
some
out of curiosity.
Who knows? It might even be
Okay.
a bot. You know what I mean? Like,
See,
what's
maybe
this?
What we should
what's
do instead
this?
of me,
Mm-hmm.
who fucking knows? Instead of me writing a whole article on how to spot bots, maybe we should just do a whole segment. We just scroll through this shit, and I'll be like,
Okay.
"Oh, this one is a brand new
Oh,
account,
yeah, there
and
you
all they
go.
do is retweet, and there's
Yep.
nothing original." Or, "Oh, this one has 7 different numbers and 4 letters, so they're part of the bunch of numbers. Bot family will always bring raisins to the cookout. Do not engage."
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I could teach a masterclass in how to shut all of this down.
Yeah.
Because I can spot a bot within seconds, and all you really have to do is go check. Never, ever respond until
Wow.
you check the account. You know, like that
See,
trust,
Yeah.
just trust and verify.
Right.
In this case, it's verify then trust.
Yeah, but
because,
look at all his tweets though. They're all racist. They're all
They're
like
all retweets.
Yeah, but they're all
Yeah, but they're
like
all
right
retweets.
here. This is
Yeah.
go ahead, say it.
Racist.
They're retweets, but it's all to generate negativity towards black people.
Correct.
That's basically it.
And that was Hal's point. Is that the whole point of Twitter now is negative engagement.
Uh-huh.
Negative engagement.
That's it.
To boost all the twats doing the terrible shit.
Yeah.
And that's what gets I was making the point, like that Obama AI tweet was my most successful tweet ever. Millions and millions and millions of views and engagement. Nothing
That's
I
good.
ever tweet about my book ever comes close to that because it's a positive thing. And if I could only figure out a way to trigger MAGA with my book, like I triggered them with that and get 5 million views for my book, that'd be awesome. See, that Keith Richards one doesn't bother me. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's badass.
Right.
Fun.
Well-
That's fun. That one's cool. I like that one too.
Yeah. Oh,
That one
God.
is just like,
Pope Trump. Oh my
I mean,
God,
dude,
it's
look
a
at that.
nightmare.
Look how sad. But
They're
that's just
so
sad.
disgusting.
You know why? They cannot share any real footage of him because no real footage of him could inspire anybody.
Yeah, the whole world
There's
hates
nothing,
him.
right? There's nothing inspirational. Ooh, is he shaking hands with him
Yeah.
over McDonald's hamburgers?
He's flying an eagle.
What is he?
Oh,
Sure.
this
Oh,
bitch who wouldn't show up when his country called. His feet hurt. The little bitch.
The flying eagle one is funny though, because remember when he got scared of the eagle?
Oh
You know
yeah,
that-
yeah. The eagle
When the
bit
eagle
him.
is in the,
Good eagle. I like that eagle.
They-
But this is like, it's so gross.
I know, but on the other hand, there are moments where I almost envy their ability to create their own reality where nothing is bad
Right.
and nothing can hurt them. and everything is fine because daddy is going to take care of them, and it's
Yes.
either they're
Well, that's it.
sky daddy or this daddy, and neither daddy is going to take care of you.
Right.
Neither
right.
daddy is coming to save you. But I envy that very simplistic world view.
It's very
I
small.
envy
They're
being-
small.
Yeah,
Small-minded.
I envy. Right, I envy your ability to live with your head in the sand. I envy it. I wish I
Do
could.
you?
I wish I could live oblivious. Because I mean, I just imagine if you could just float through life and have nothing touch you like
Right.
this, and just be
Well,
like, I love
yeah.
that. That's cool. I mean, that's mental illness.
I guess.
But I mean,
yeah. But like,
I'm
for example, this is why
it's crazy.
they always go on about daddy's home and all those, and this
Trump's your daddy now.
Yeah, who's your daddy?
No.
Because it is indicative of the fact that they hate America, and that's how I mean, if you psychoanalyze it, it's because they're not adult enough to function in a free democratic society.
All right, let's
being
get rid of them.
yeah,
Let's
being
get rid
a
of this.
functioning adult engaged in civic life. That's what the founders, expected of us, to be able to
God.
rule ourselves. We don't need daddy to rule us. Daddy
No.
does things for us when we're children, when we don't have autonomy, we don't understand the world, we can't sign contracts, we can't, we can't
I can't
drive.
look at him flying on the eagle
I know.
anymore.
All right. I'll go back. Here, this is better.
Here,
But
I mean,
Yeah,
I'd rather
but-
just look at you.
oh, thank
Let's
you.
just look at each other.
Yeah, all
now.
right.
We're-
But
we're
here's
cuter.
I wanted to show you the fact checks of that guy's.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I think that
Let's
you
do that.
should do that too. If any of these, it's very simple to do. I have, I can't talk. Perplexity. Sometimes words are hard. And all you got to do is just copy and paste and ask the AI to fact check it. Of course, you got to always
Right.
double check it too, because sometimes the AI
Right.
lies. But let's see. Fact
They
check
don't care
this.
about facts.
Yeah.
They don't care. It doesn't matter. And
Right.
that's also part of it. A lot of what they're doing is distraction. It's distraction tactic, right? They would rather spend the whole day making you go on a wild goose
Yes.
internet chase.
Yes.
And they will never admit, except for that one guy who admitted he was wrong about my own screenshot of the Trump block. They will never admit that they were wrong, because
Yeah.
if they don't like what you show them, they'll question the source. Like if you show them a screenshot,
That's it.
from Rolling Stone saying Donald Trump has already deported multiple American toddlers with cancer, their response is, Rolling Stone, that's lit.
Uh-huh.
Blah.
Well,
Mother
that's
Jones.
what-
blah, blah,
right.
blah. Okay, well, here's the same story from a Fox News affiliate. What do you have to say now? And then
Yeah.
they don't respond because they can't, or they just block you.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I talked to Hal about yesterday, where we kind of butt heads a little bit, because it's when people have frustration with Democratic leadership, and there's those of us out here who are invested in getting the truth out there, yet no one wants to believe us, and we can't get to a larger audience. How do we fight back? Right? It's because he doesn't think that we should ever be saying anything negative about Democratic leadership, and at the same time,
Well-
we still have to. We are still faced with not just shit like this, but them sharing like the clip
Yeah.
of John Fetterman on the airplane arguing with the flight attendant because he didn't want to wear his seatbelt.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Well,
It's-
Fetterman is,
it's-
he's an issue, but I don't hear. See, this is the thing. If Fetterman, we would ask him to leave. I think people have already told him he needs to go
Yes.
get help and concentrate
Right.
on
Which
his
he did.
recovery.
Right.
But apparently he's deteriorated and he's not following his treatment plan. So. But Democrats aren't the ones like, oh, we will always protect him. Democrats are the ones calling for him to, get the help
Yeah.
you need and step back
Right.
if this is what you need. But
Right.
this
And
is, yeah. Go ahead.
We also talked about David Hogg and how he wants to kind of broom anybody who isn't furthering the Democratic agenda or have been there too long, people who aren't progressive enough. And I think that that blanket approach isn't the way
No,
either. I
no.
think that there is a happy medium there where, you just kind of go down and look at someone's voting record and you look at their history, and are they serving their constituents or are they serving something else? And, I understand picking and choosing your battles and what's important and what's not. But today we're with Ed Martin. Ed Martin's supposed to be confirmed for U.S. attorney, and there are even Republicans who are like, no, 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 no. Tom Tillis is finding a piece of his spine today.
Oh yeah,
to stand
really?
Up. Yeah, to stand
What
up
are
and
they
do that. And
saying?
so he's not qualified. He's not.
I'm surprised to hear that they're saying that. I really am.
He's a January 6th denier. He's he's someone who believes that January 6th is just a normal tourist visit,
And
all of it.
You're right. But for those who don't know, Ed Martin is the interim attorney for United States Attorney. That's what we're talking about, Ed Martin? Or
Yeah, and
so
he's
who else
just.
is-
I mean, if you look, he's another one like Pete Hegseth. It's like he is just a Trump devotee. He will say and do anything to stay in Trump's favor. He will bend and twist himself into pretzels. He will do like Scott Bessent. Also, Scott Bessent was basically asked directly under oath today, who pays for tariffs, and he would not answer. He stammered and stuttered
because he doesn't know.
Obfuscated. No, he totally knows. He
But,
totally knows
yeah,
what tariffs are
true.
and how they work,
You're
but
right.
he will not say directly that Trump's arbitrary, unnecessary tariffs are taxes on the American
Right.
consumers. He will not say it because what will happen? Oh no, Trump will say something mean. He
Right.
might tweet something mean
Yeah.
about me. I don't. He's a coward.
They all
he
are.
blocked me on Twitter
Yeah.
10 years ago. How can you be afraid of somebody who's afraid of some lady on Twitter?
Ugh.
Seriously.
Because they're cowards. They're all
Seriously.
inherent cowards. It takes courage, along with maturity and a level of decency and adulting. It takes courage to
Adulting.
function in a free democratic society. It really does. You have to, we're a multiracial liberal democracy, nation of immigrants. That requires you to maybe grow up a little, evolve a little, learn to live with people who maybe don't believe the same things you do, but have a functioning
Yeah.
society regardless. And
Yeah.
that's the way it's supposed to be. I don't know. This
Right.
shining city on
Yeah.
a hill looks like shite when these
oh my God, it's
monsters are in
gold.
charge, right?
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Rose Blue, for the $5 super chat. A neuter scooter business stop these idiots to stop these idiots from procreating. If only
Please.
we could. If only
Please.
we could stop these idiots from procreating. But then again, what they're actually doing is they want for white women $5,000 to make more white babies. Did you hear about that one?
Yeah. Is that the motherhood medal? I wrote about
believe
that on the Substack. The motherhood medal. It's like a Nazi, right out of Nazis.
Oh, it's the Lebensborn. It's totally.
It's totally right from the. See, this is the thing. If they wanted to actually encourage people to have babies, and the problem is, the birth rate is going down, along with the life expectancy. Birth rate is going down. Infant mortality rate is up. And like everything else that, they don't really have any solutions for this. This is the reason this is a fact is because of Republican policies. And if they actually wanted to encourage the birth rate to rise, they wouldn't give out a friggin' medal or $5,000. It's so ridiculous. They would promote the living wages. They wouldn't be firing people. We would have universal health care, retirement security, education, like all of the foundations, the infrastructure of democracy. And that's what we're talking about, building the infrastructure of democracy and leaving no one behind. That's the democratic message, I believe. And it's all performance art for them, and they can't help but leap or look into a fascist, bag of tricks, because that's who they are. Even if they don't know that Hitler gave out a motherhood medal, it's the same because this is who they are inherently.
Of course, and the same people who don't believe in climate change and global warming also don't understand that there are already too many people on this planet. This planet cannot sustain its current population.
Well, they don't care.
So trying to increase the population will only continue to stress whatever natural resources we still have on this planet that we are constantly killing every single day. However, if they are able to implement their real plan, which is to get rid of all of us and replace us with the white Christian obedient babies, then they can control the population. That was the master plan of Hitler's. The Great Replacement thing is actually getting rid of everybody who isn't white and Christian.
Right.
So
right,
get rid of the
right.
gays, get rid of the Jews, get rid of anybody melanated, get rid of anybody with any mental deficiencies,
That's it.
anybody that they ever, and make us all they want a pristine white
That's
world of obedient worker drones, the children that they can make work overnight in factories.
Yes.
And they can put the women out in the fields to birth, and it'll be they want the Handmaid's Tale.
Amen.
That's what they want.
Amen.
It's up to us to stop them. And the question is, when will Democrats be able to do this? Now, there have been a third round of articles of impeachment being introduced.
Okay.
By Representative Shri Thandahar, which is great, and also Representative Al Green is behind it. And yes, you do need a Democratic majority to have an impeachment, but I would say that enough Republicans would also vote with Democrats if they just held the vote behind closed doors, because
Yes.
they're all cowards. At this
Right.
point, I'm fine. I'm fine
Right.
with that. You didn't do it the first time. You didn't do it the second time. We don't even need as many Republicans as we had last time. 10 voted with Democrats
Right.
last time. I think we need like 6. We only need 6 this time in the Senate. So if someone like a Tom Tillis is able to stand up to Ed Martin, and someone like I don't know who's like a somewhat normal Republican senator who might,
Oh God! Well, I guess
like
Lisa Murkowski and
Lisa Murkowski, who said she was scared. Everybody's scared.
and
All
Susan
right, well,
Collins is concerned again.
right, she's
Always
very, very concerned. Gather, shall you? Gather behind closed doors, because it's not just Trump that has to go; it's the whole legitimate administration. So, and that's a process that this country has never really had to face before. But one of the things that they're talking about in millions of all of the other things is that the confluence of Trump's birthday being Flag Day,
God,
being the
help us.
anniversary of the military, and that there's going to be an
Jesus.
ego parade for him
What a
with
disgrace.
helicopters and tanks
Yeah.
and a great show of military force, just like in North Korea.
Yeah.
So that's what we want in America. So that's also been deemed No More Kings Day, and we're going to be in the streets again protesting. And I hope that there's an that happening thing in DC.
there is.
And if
there is
gathering
all over
in-
the country.
Of course there will. But what we hope is that there'll be enough military to maybe block that parade in Washington. Like that, we talked about this last week, I think, but there should be an Occupy White House.
There should be, but one of the problems is the streets of DC are not made to hold the weight of a tank, and it'll just tear up the roads.
Oh, man.
So
Oh, God.
the whole thing, it goes to show us just how much Republicans and Trump, because they will allow him to have this. Pete Hegseth will allow this to go on, even though it is an absolute embarrassment for this country, and they don't seem to understand that only the weak, and like I know they have one in France. That's what Trump saw, and he was jealous. They had a military parade, but it's the mark of a small, fragile, fearful nation that does things like that. Look at our missile. Look at me. That's it. And Trump, he's so
Look
confused.
at my big penis rocket.
That's it. They're just so confused by this America thing. They don't understand strength. Everything they do is weak. It's absolute. They're just weak as fuck, and they can't handle an actual free, multiracial, liberal democracy. That's what it's about.
No.
And as far as the motherhood medal, could you imagine if someone with darker pigment showed up with 6 or more kids? Would she get the medal too? I don't think so.
No,
It's all right.
no, she wouldn't. No, she'd probably be deported
Yeah.
for some reason. Find a reason to deport her, and it's just so vile. Notice how a Democratic president has never needed a military display to show off their strength. They just led with dignity on the world stage,
and even ones who served don't need that. He never served. That's what pisses me off. Because I was in the National Guard. I wore the uniform of this country. I did, my service to this country. But he could never go. In the middle of a war when he was, he needed all these deferments. So, and the other thing that really pisses me off about Trump. He loves giving salutes. Okay, he loves looking like a tough guy, giving salutes. That is against military code, by the way. If you're serving, if you're even an active duty service member and you're in civilian clothes, you're not supposed to salute. You put your hand over your heart. Only people in uniform salute. And even Eisenhower, who was the supreme Allied commander in World War II, when he was the president, never saluted. So for him, it feels like stolen valor. Of course it is. That's what go. You could have served. But it goes to show how confused they don't understand what this thing is, what America was supposed to be, what we, hopefully will be again once we get rid of these monsters. So
they don't care about the founders; they just care about their funders. And it's all about money. And it's, and you mentioned Pete Hegseth. First of all, Randy Rainbow has a brand new video out today called "Incompetent," and it's beautiful. Okay. Randy Rainbow, a gift for all of humanity. But making fun of Pete Hegseth beautifully. Pete Hegseth did I think he did a 2-camera appearance from his makeup studio in the Pentagon because he's an alpha male without his circles of rouge on his cheeks because he's a fucking clown. And apparently he borrowed a shirt from Tom Fitton because it's 3 sizes too small, and it's embarrassing. It's all about the show, and it's all about it. It's all surface, no substance, no real, there will be a day, and soon, because the ports are empty and China just sent its last ship about a week ago.
It's going to get worse.
When the shelves at their Walmarts are empty, when they can no longer get their food for their kids and their dog or their whatever, that is when maybe the tide will turn. Because I always wonder where their own red line is.
Right.
Is there a Maginot line instead of the Maginot line, the Maginot line? I don't know. I don't know. I think, it's also where Trump can't blend and there's always a line here. That's the Maginot line. But
that's good.
But it's also like Emily Feiner asked of Mike Lawler, a.k.a. Mike Lawless, where is your red line? Where do you say enough is enough? This is un-American, period.
Well, she got her answer, right? When they kicked her out. Where's your red line? Yeah.
But this is when Senate Democrats are listening to these Trump appointees under oath in the Senate, the question they should ask is your loyalty to the Constitution and America, or is your loyalty to Trump? That's the question I want read into the historic record.
Right.
That's the question, because if there are future generations to look back at this time and wonder how it happened. Aside from the fact that Democrats never demanded a forensic audit of the 2024 election and Trump was bragging about it being rigged 2 days ago. Aside from that, they're going to wonder who put up a fight and who didn't. It's basically looking back, you look back at the Holocaust, you look back at other uprisings in history. Who was there fighting and who gave in really fast. That's and that's where we're gonna have to start judging people now.
Yeah,
because
history will revile them. That's for sure.
Right? You can't be wishy-washy about fascism. You really need to choose a side there. You're either for it or against it, right? So I'm against. So the measures that we take to fight fascism have to be really clear, and I think that's a problem with the Democratic Party in that nobody is seeing. There's not a defined leader, right? Everybody has a defined leader. In the MAGA cult, obviously they have their one leader. They refuse to anoint Joe Biden as our leader,
right?
When we should have, right? And detractors from Biden don't help. So we need a defined leader right now who is willing to speak strongly and bear the brunt, because there's going to be that when you push back. But we have to do that. There has to be, in unprecedented times, you take unprecedented action to fight back. And so, you can be in the streets every day, but if he's openly defying the Supreme Court on a unanimous decision, what do you do?
Well, that's the thing. When I'm thinking about Chuck Schumer, his strongly worded letter, but this is the problem too. Did we see this strongly worded letter? Was it released to the public? Did he
I don't think
make a
so.
big deal about it? Did he go on media and say, this is my strongly worded letter, and put down the lists and read it into and get everybody on board with it? No. That's what I mean. Like, who cares? Your strongly worded email or letter behind closed doors, it has to be out in the open. We have to know about it. People have to, you got to use your voice. Otherwise, I mean, what happened with the revolution? Did it happen? Did people not talk about freedom? Did they not pass around the pamphlets of Thomas Paine, or it was just all under behind closed doors? No, it was happening, and the conversation was happening. That's how it built and grew steam and grew power, and people signed on and said, yeah, let's overthrow this king. We don't need an aristocracy. We don't need a monarchy.
Right.
So
That's right.
That's what pissed me off too. Where is this? I wrote a letter. Okay, so you say, well,
Right.
let us in on it too. How about, right? That's leadership.
Democratic press secretary every day, every single day, whether they're allowed to hold their conferences in the White House or they have to do it at the Capitol. It has to happen. It should have happened already. I've been asking for one for
Yes.
3 months, tagging Ken Martin, Malcolm Kenyatta, David Hogg, Senator Schumer, and Representative Jeffries, because those are our leaders. Those are the people that we have to be on all the time. Those people are driving who becomes our leadership, right? And they're going to decide who our candidates are. They're going to decide who runs in 2028 if we get there. And I'm frustrated when they say that we're here, we're the this is what our party does, but you're not listening. I don't see them listening, and it's frustrating. In that we have this beautiful collective here on the Political Voices Network of so many people saying the same thing, which is, we need a cohesive movement. We need to get this out into the world. One of the things that we want to do is actually John and Hal and myself and Frangela and hopefully some other people, Stephanie and some others, get out there and do some live shows in red states so that we can do what Republicans
That'd be great.
won't. Right. And so that's something that we would love to do, because it's the hardest time in history to get the truth out into the world, because Donald Trump has decided where the truth comes from. You're shutting down NPR and PBS, which is like, and if you don't like a station, just don't watch it. I don't watch Fox. I'm not, and by the way, Fox should not even exist anymore after losing the Dominion lawsuit. So it's frustrating, because we should have the viewership of a Fox News or an MSNBC. And so, but the way we do that is we just have to continue to build this community.
Yes.
And so, we usually get, which is great, we have about 100 or so people in the live chat with us right now. And thank you to Jim for being our moderator.
Thank
He's
you.
amazing. We appreciate you so much. So for the 100 of you who are watching live, and then we get, we get about between 1,500 and 2,000 views per show.
Okay.
After the fact, which is a nice start. We're still starting out here. We've only been doing this for a little while, but we're gaining the momentum. Here's what I'm going to ask of everybody, either whether you're watching it live here in the chat, you're watching us later. There's a couple of ways that you can help out and build community and get the truth out into the world. You can pay for a subscription to either my Substack, Devlin Substack, Political Voices Substack. What we're asking for is between $8 and $10 from you a month. So in the grand scheme of things, that's not a lot of money, but if it is, because I understand, I have to watch every single penny, because I do.
Right.
So if you can't do that, share this show on all of your socials. That is free. It is free to share a link. So you can say, hey, the Political Voices Network is amazing. And it's got all of these genius political comedians, and they tell us the truth, but they do it in a way that's not so scary.
Right.
That's what we're really here for. And it's about supporting each other and growing this community. And the only way we're going to do that is organically.
Right.
And
that's it. Yep.
Every time we go on somebody else's show, we do the cross promote, talk about it on Hal's show tomorrow. I'm doing Dino Badala's show and Bob Seska's show. So
nice.
Thank you. And then of course we're back here on Thursday. So it's about sharing and letting people know that we're not helpless and we're not hopeless. And it's overcoming that feeling, because I don't know about you, but when I talk to people like out in the world, they look at me like, can you save me?
We save each other. That's how
Somebody
we
told
do
me I
it.
should run for office. I'm like, no, I'd be
I
a
get that
nightmare.
all the time too, people say. But yeah, we all
We're
have
more
our
effective,
roles.
like-
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You and I are much more effective in this way. We'll
Yeah, I
reach
think
more
so.
people this way. And I'm going to continue to invite Republicans to join us here,
Yeah,
either
why
in
not?
the chat or come be a guest, because I genuinely want to have those conversations. I have questions I would love to have answered. I have called Representative Mike Lawler's office 2 days in a row now. It goes right to
Wow.
voicemail, but that doesn't mean we give up, because we are always in pursuit of the truth. Make sure you are following Devlin and Dublin on all the socials. Blue Sky, Twitter.
Yeah.
You have an Instagram, right?
I
Don't you
think
have
so.
it?
Yeah. I do. Tara Buster
Political
show.
Voice.
I
And
know.
Political
I'm
Voices
bad.
Network has a new. I know. Political Voices Network also has a new Instagram that everyone can be following.
Awesome.
And building. Yeah, we started with the clips from the Not the White House Correspondents' Dinner,
cool.
which was such a great show, by the way.
That's
We need
great.
to do more shows like that. Also, I don't
Yeah.
think we need to have a real occasion, and I think it might be a really smart thing to have. Almost like maybe every week, it's like we have our own comedy club and we do a live comedy show every week. If we can't get out on the road, maybe I don't know. I'm just spinning.
That's true.
I'm just
That's
trying
true.
to think
You can
of
do
ways,
like a Zoom or something.
or something like this where
Or
we just
Substack.
or
Yeah.
we do a live Substack chat.
Yeah. That's
Which would be so much fun, and eventually get guests on the show, and then go on their show, and eventually we're just taking over, and everybody
That's
knows
the
who we are.
plan, really. Yeah, I
Right?
hope so. I mean,
So-
not hope. It will happen, but we got to build it together. That's it.
We build it. If we build it, they will come.
It's true. And we have the truth. And that's why I'm telling you guys, please read my
It matters
article.
so much. And also, please buy my book, The Sound
yes.
of Settling: A Rock and Roll Love Story. Available
go.
now at TaraDublinRocks.com. And if you buy my book, I will send you a signed book plate. If you want an actual book, if you want a physical book signed, which I will do for you, you can. There it is. See the sound of something. You can also Venmo me $25, and I will send you a physical book which is signed inside. I will do that too. I'm doing that for someone who was listening to Hal's show yesterday.
Oh, that's
So,
nice.
yeah. No, it's great. It's great. But it's all about support and sharing.
I know.
Sharing is literally caring not just about us as people, but caring about our
Right.
democracy. I care about our democracy so much. I would do this even if nobody paid me
Right.
to write about politics or host a podcast. I would still be out there every single day screaming into the abyss, because there's no amount of money you could pay me to sell out my country.
No, me neither.
Like Tim Cesspool or Cat Turd.
Right,
No amount of
right.
rubles. Can't dangle any rubles in my face.
Or Zuckerberg too. He was getting paid in rubles for spreading,
Bezos.
allowing fake news on Facebook or whatever. So yeah, and that's what I
There's no
wrote
fake
about it
news here.
on the Substack. How not only how we got here, but how the algorithms favor right wingers, and that's not just us saying it. So read the Substack that I wrote, and it has all the links and the receipts. How left-wing voices or the actual patriotic voices are suppressed on these platforms. It's the
100%.
truth. It's the truth. So
It is true. And remember, Republicans do not hold a copyright on patriotism. They don't own
Not at
our
all.
flag. It belongs to all of us. And that was one of the prevailing messages at the Democratic National Committee. And they can't. And the whole point, your government isn't supposed to take anything from you. It's supposed to give you the tools to have a long and prosperous
That's right.
life. And all it's
That's
supposed to take is your taxes. That's it.
Yeah,
We
the
all pay our
infrastructure,
taxes
the
to
infrastructure
keep
of
things
democracy.
moving.
Exactly. Yeah, we're supposed to
It's
pay
not
our
that hard.
taxes, so we all have a chance of a decent life here. So
That's right.
all right. That's
correct.
the
All
end
right,
of the
everybody.
show.
Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. We will see you back here on Thursday. Same tower time, same tower channel. And have a good one.
All right. See you later.
Bye, Kitty. Bye.